When you make a covenant with the Lord, particularly the most sacred covenant, which is marriage, you better be sure if you decide to break it, that you're doing so according to biblical grounds, because God takes covenant extremely seriously. My name is Lorna Vaughn. I'm founder of Tongue of Fire Ministry. And I am here to teach wives how to contend for their marriage miracle and win, and also explain how the Lord sees marriage and what we are to do biblically when things go south and sometimes go to hell. Okay. And I am seeing so many platforms, Christian platforms, teach this wrong. And this is serious. Okay. This is the Lord's most sacred covenant. So this is not going to be a TikTok it's like not a soundbite. I'm going to take the full 10 minutes probably, because I'm going to take you into scripture. I'm going to take you 3 places. I'm going to take you to Joshua 9, 2 Samuel 21, and then I'm going to take you to Ruth 4. And this TikTok is going to be in 2 parts. Number 1, I am going to explain to you how seriously the Lord takes covenant, even when it is entered into under deception, even when it is entered into without the person's knowledge of who it is they are actually covenanting with. Now, how does this relate to marriage? You can probably guess. There are a lot of people online right now saying, well, if it was a trauma bond, then that wasn't ordained by God. There is never a place in scripture that says if you enter a covenant, especially if you enter the covenant of marriage, but it's a trauma bond, but you didn't consult God beforehand, but this, but that, then it doesn't count. Actually, what we have in scripture is the opposite of that. We have a story of Joshua entering into a covenant with the Gibeonites under deception about who they actually were, which if he knew, he would not enter the covenant. That is so important to the Lord. That is what covenant is. That he causes the land to come under famine 400 years later when Saul breaks that covenant. Okay? So number 1, I am going to be showing you in scripture what the Lord actually says about covenant and what he actually believes and means about covenant. Okay? Then I am going to take you to Ruth 4, and we are going to see how a marriage covenant needs to be formed for it to be covenantal and for you to essentially not be living in sin with someone that you think you're married to, but actually, according to the Lord, you're living in sin with. Okay? This is like serious. I would encourage you to save this video right now and come back and listen to it. This is going to be meaty, and this teaching has the power and the possibility of changing destinies and generations. Okay, so first we're going to go to Joshua 9 verse. We're going to be kind of in different places. So I'm going to start at verse 1. And it came to the heading in my Bible is the trickery of the Gibeonites. This covenant was entered into under trickery and deceit, and the Lord still upheld it. Basically, the point is the Gibeonites were afraid that the Israelites were going to invade them, so they pretended to be from a super far away country coming to make a peace pact with Joshua. And Joshua, in verse 15, and Joshua made peace with them and made a league with them to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swear unto them. And it's funny because the verse before this says, the men asked not counsel at the mouth of the Lord. So they did not even go to the Lord and say, should we do this? Should we not do this? Okay. They just entered into the covenant. Okay. So that's Joshua 9. Now we're going to go to 2 Samuel 21 verses 1 and 2. Hold on. Yeah. There was this 400 years later. There was a famine in the days of David for 3 years, year after year. And David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered, "It is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites." So what happened 400 years later is that Saul slew the Gibeonites, he broke that covenant, and God visited famine on the land for 3 years. Because Saul broke a covenant that was made 400 years prior under deception and deceit and trickery, and even though Joshua and his men did not consult God first. So not only was there a famine, but the way that that famine had to be lifted, if you go to verse 6, 2 Samuel 21, verse 6, is that they went to the Gibeonites and said, "How can we make this right?" And the Gibeonites said, "We want 7 of Saul's male descendants." So 7 of Saul's male descendants were killed. And then finally in verse 14, it says, "The famine was lifted, and God answered the prayers on behalf of the land." So if you think, and if you are being told by other teachers that if you entered into the covenant of marriage under trauma, under this, under that, under, you didn't seek the Lord's will for it, you were like trauma bonded to this person, that it's okay to divorce, they are lying to you, they are misleading you, and they are leading you into very serious sin. This is serious. Now, we are going to go, so in other words, there are grounds for divorce. I'm not going to get into that here. If you want that teaching, I did a whole, I think it's like an hour and a half teaching on that. You can go to my ministry, just click the link in my bio, and you can join and you can watch that teaching.